A very good morning and welcome to our Rugby World Cup update brought to you aboard the ABSA Red Bus. ABSA, a member of Barclays. What a weekend of Rugby World Cup semi-final action we have had. It is confirmed New Zealand and Australia will battle it out to be crowned the world champions for 2015, and a record will be broken because one of those teams will become the first ever 3 times winners of the Webb Ellis Cup. And to fight out for the bronze medal, it will be South Africa up against Argentina. It's good to be in your company. We've got lots to get through in this short 15 minutes. So let's get all underway as we check in with the latest from the Springbok camp with our correspondent, Simon Burke.
The Springboks are now gearing up for the bronze medal match in the Rugby World Cup. It's widely known as the losers' final, or the match that nobody really wants to play. And it's a cruel twist of fate for a team that pushed the All Blacks so far in that semi-final.
It's still a test match for South Africa. I think it's not difficult to get yourself up for it. You want to do well for your country. You want to win to make your country happy and the fans back home happy. So it's still a test match for us. We handle it like any other test match, and we want to win it. And hopefully we can.
We want to go away here with a win, get that bronze medal. It's not what we came here for, but it is what it is now. So we're excited, we're proud. We pride ourselves on playing well every game, and we're going to go out there and try to make our nation proud again. It's another test match, it's another challenge, and we've got to win it.
In terms of the World Cup, the main goal is over now. For the 3rd and 4th playoff game next Friday, we'll regroup on Monday and prepare for that again.
The Springboks made it out of that semi-final to the All Blacks largely intact. There are no real injury concerns to speak of, so it'll be a fully fit squad. And that's one positive to take, if there are any. I'm Simon Burke, bringing you the latest from the Springbok camp.
And the kickoff for that match come Friday will be at 10 o'clock South African time. Let's get you up to speed with other news that's coming from the Rugby World Cup. New Zealand coach Steve Hansen dismissed reports that captain Richie McCaw could be cited for elbowing South Africa's Francois Lowe and missed the final. Hansen said there's nothing in it, nothing to talk about, so let's move on. Now, in further reaction to Saturday's 18-20 semi-final defeat for South Africa to New Zealand, flanker Skalkberger said there wasn't just one problem area in the match, and he laid the blame on himself, saying probably the biggest mistake was me carrying and lost the ball in our own 22. What a big man, taking responsibility on his shoulders for something that is equally shared amongst the Springbok team for Saturday's performance. They're all going to have to stand up for in that bronze medal match. We'll hear from our Minister of Sport and Recreation that was at Twickenham and part of the 80,000 strong crowd screaming the Springboks on Saturday after the break. Stay with us.
Philips, we wake up every morning and ask, how can innovation make a difference to you? How can thousands of LEDs bring the pyramids to life and light up hearts? How can an air fryer make delicious traditional meals with up to 80% less fat? How can portable ultrasound be part of a program to help lower infant mortality in Uganda? Because the only innovation that really matters is innovation that matters to you. Innovation and you. Philips.
Welcome back to our Rugby World Cup update as we broadcast aboard our ABSA Red Bus, ABSA, a member of Barclays. Now, Twitter was abuzz yesterday as many people say thank you very much to the Proteas after they secured a fabulous victory over India to win the ODI series 3-2. They said you really have made that nation very, very happy after Saturday's disappointments. And that was, of course, the disappointment for the Springboks as they went down by just 2 points against New Zealand. Now, in the crowd at Twickenham was our Minister of Sport and Recreation, Fikile Mbalula, and when I chatted to him yesterday, he turned somewhat of an analyst, but he said South Africa can be very proud of the brave effort by the Springboks.
They must walk with their heads high because they played quite a fantastic game against the best side in the world. I think we could not contain them in the second half. We needed to exploit at the beginning of the game in the second half the fact that they had lost one guy through the yellow card. We could not capitalize on that, and then they managed to score, I think, 2 points more extra, and then a try in the second half, and that finished us. But that was a titanic, epic battle. I'm proud of the Springboks. Nobody gave them a chance. They thought it was going to be a walkover. By their own admission, New Zealand say thanks God that this game could have gone either way. The only sad story is that it went against us. But in that stadium and in the world and in this World Cup, our Springbok team was not a statistic. I say to the world and to the Springboks, this was our brave side. They left home amidst mixed emotions of people characterizing the team in the way they did, and all other issues that were actually raised. But the boys rose to the occasion like true champions, you know, and patriots. They understood what is the mission all about, and they stood their ground, and I'm proud of them to bow out at the semi-finals, which I think we should have gone all the way to the finals. Is the name of the game, is the sport. They didn't, you know, bow down like a bunch of losers. They went down fighting, and they're raising the flag of South Africa and raring to go and to win it for us. We've got to accept at some point that we can win some and lose some.
Minister of Sport and Recreation, he's the biggest cheerleader for South African teams when they go and do battle and represent the country at major international tournaments. And he always, we saw yesterday that he's also quite an analyst, and he keeps a very close eye on what's actually happening. He understands the nuances of the sport, especially when it comes to rugby. And on that note, I'm going to introduce my colleague Matt Messina, former professional player and former Springbok Sevens international. Did you think our minister was such a good analyst of the game?
I think he was spot on. I mean, considering that he probably hasn't played rugby, but I think the way he was just analysing the game, knowing very well that we had an opportunity, especially when the All Blacks were playing against 14 men, where I really thought that it was crucial. We had to score a try there or at least a penalty, but on the other hand, that it was the New Zealand team that really actually scored.
The stats, however, when we look at that semi-final, they really don't actually flatter South Africa at all. Possession 67% New Zealand's way, 33% South Africa's way. And territory, New Zealand enjoyed a 57% territory and 43% for South Africa. We never ever threatened their try line. They scored 2 against us.
Yeah, well, we didn't. I think before last week I did mention to quite a few people that for South African team, for us, for the Boks to win against the All Blacks, we need to score tries, and it didn't really happen like that. You know, there's no use of just kicking all the penalty away. We got to make sure that we dominate that contact point and make sure that we put points on the board against them, especially when you're scoring tries, because they're very good, and then we didn't really just threaten them, although if you looking at the score, it was very close. But in a game, I never felt as if we are going to be scoring a try anytime soon. Yes, you know, I could have thought that perhaps maybe, you know, in terms of the penalty, we will get the penalty. We can kick, you know, those 3 points. But then at the end of the day, they've always been solid. You know, we always talk about our traditional playing style of game as South African team, playing with the forwards or what. But we really need to just look back and just sit down and say, okay, fine. Has it worked for us in the past 4 years? What has actually Hanneke Meyer brought to the country or to the team in order for us just to win the games? What has it done? Let's just look at the record. I think if we can ask proper questions, this is where now we'll try and see if we can look around and see whether we're in the right track or what. Because to be honest, this is not good enough, Vaylen. People that can say whatever that you want to say. Yes, the guys tried hard, but at the end of the day, this is not good enough. It's simple.
There's one more test match to go, and that's going to be for the bronze medal at the Rugby World Cup. They'll go up against Argentina. What a valiant effort from Argentina against Australia.
Yes, it's our neighbours. They've beaten us before. That's my biggest worry again. I saw the way they play. Vaylen, they're a very dangerous team. They hold the ball. They will really just test you left, right and centre. They can scrum now. They can play with a whole 15-man rugby. I think one of my biggest worries is that they've lost quite a few players. Creevy is out. It looks like Zephyr is not going to be playing. And Hernandez as well, I don't think that he is going to be available next week. So there's quite a few of their top players that are not available for the last game, which I think that, it might really just work in terms of the Springboks going out there and see if they can bring their point. But then, very exciting team indeed. And they were looking just to score a try. They play positive rugby at times as well. You could see them that they were trying things inside their 22, which I really thought that it was good. Scrummaging, it was superb from them. They got quite a few penalties, which I really thought that they were great. These guys will put us under so much pressure again. Let's not take this game lightly. And then once again, they've got quite a few variation from my side. Sometimes you'll see them kick. Sometimes you'll see them just spread the ball. They'll play the ball in the first channel, in the second channel, and sometimes even if in the third channel. So they'll test the defense in all the angles, which I really thought that they were good. They're very good as well when it comes to defense, one-on-one tackles. It's just that if you're looking at the Australian, the way they've been going out playing the game, Australian team, there's probably one of the best team in terms of attacking when they will really have to test you close, far, back, everywhere. And then once again, some few couple of players from the Australian team, which I really thought that they were great.
Mac, I'm going to have to wrap you up, but I just want to know, you went to both semi-finals. You've seen all 4 of the teams in action. Who is our world champion for 2015? Just the name.
Oh, geez, with form, the All Blacks.
And then they'll break another record. Not only will they become 3 times world champions, but they'll also become back-to-back world champions. All right, it's going to be a long week as we have lots of areas of the game to dissect and also to analyse ahead of Saturday's final. It's time now for us to move on. South Africa have still got a test match. They'll go up against Argentina for that bronze medal. And that means that we'll go back to the Queen Elizabeth Olympic Stadium. And that is in the east part of London. Now, the other day I went on a tour with 2 wonderful tour guides from Eating London, and not only did we taste the variety of different dishes in East London, which is where the Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park is actually situated, but we also got to get a little bit more of an understanding of the history of the place. It certainly is very diverse.
This marker is a very, very important piece of East London's history. In going back 2,000 years, it was a Roman burial ground. So just to prove to you how medieval Londoners would use East London as their backyard. This is where they built the hospitals, where they buried their dead dogs, where they had burial pits. And then it was in the 12th century when we had Europe's biggest medieval hospital ever built on this site. Hence the name of the area today, Spittal, taken out of hospital. So hospital fields, Spittal fields. And after that, I could really say East London became really fascinating during the 17th century. You see waves of immigrants come here. We had the French migrate here, then they were replaced by the Jewish, then they were replaced by the Bangladesh, and then they were more recently replaced by the artists, the creative hub, the hipsters, and all of these groups have really left their mark on the neighbourhood, and that plays a very important role now today in East London. Yo! It's just the perfect canvas for street artists, really. And what is street art? Well, it's absolutely anything on the streets. It can be stenciled, printed, pasted, dropping cars on container ships like Banksy did a few years ago. So he's one of the most famous artists that we have here in London, and he got his name right here. And you won't find many Banksys around. His stuff is usually stolen and put up on eBay for a much higher price, hence why his car's protected in a perspex box. Somebody has already stolen the windows off them, but it's just a great way for artists to get their name out there. Free public displays on the streets, and like the bird we saw earlier and the sticks figure, they really hold deep, meaningful messages. They really are not just about doing a bit of street art or a bit of graffiti. It's really about something much deeper than that. The sticks figure really shows the Bangladesh community here, and the crane that we saw is just the symbol of Bangladesh, and it's really great because it shows the community here today.
All right, can vouch for fabulous food in that area, and the street art was absolutely magnificent. That's how they come to the end of this Rugby World Cup update. I'll send you back to the guys in the Johannesburg studio, but not before I tell you where our Absa Red Bus is going to be tomorrow morning. We are going to be at SW19. Yes, the Absa Red Bus is going to Wimbledon. I look forward to broadcasting from there tomorrow morning. Until then, have a great Monday ahead. Goodbye.